It was eerily quiet out there. Not a soul was on the street or a car except for burning, smoldering cars, still smoking and hot. And I stood beside one to shoot a quick little video report. And all of a sudden, the only vehicle that was out there started to roll up, and it was a pickup truck with 8 guys on it with machine guns and ski masks. And they slowed right down, beside me. And I had a moment, Drea. I
Yeah.
was like, is this it? Is this how it's going to go down for me?
All eyes have been on Mexico since Sunday after cartel violence erupted across many parts of the country. That is, after security forces in Mexico took out drug trafficking cartel boss El Mencho. I won't embarrass myself by trying to pronounce the full name of El Mencho, but since he's been gone, there has reportedly been at least 25 military or security troops that have been killed, much vandalism, much terror. The Canadian government has, of course, advised that Canadians don't travel to Mexico, but what if you're already trapped there?
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, coming at you here live in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Just had the military driving past me, and as I understand it, I should not be around anywhere where the police or the military are, because they are the target right now. As you can see, there's this whole place is like deserted right now because there's burning cars back there, burning cars right here, still smoldering, and the situation is incredibly intense.
I'm Drea Humphrey with Rebel News, and today I bring you an interview with BC journalist Dan Dix. He's somewhat of a colleague, not because he works at Rebel News, he doesn't, he works for himself with Press for Truth, but because he and I are often boots on the ground covering the same stories in the lower mainland. Today, I'm going to speak with him. He's trapped in Puerto Vallarta right now. He's there for work, and now his work has gotten a whole new level of coverage as he's been bringing us boots on the ground reports from Puerto Vallarta. Dan Dix with Press for Truth joins us now. Thanks for being on Rebel News.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
It looks absolutely crazy there. I'm glad to see you're safe right now. For those who haven't been following your updates on X or whatnot, why don't we start with you taking us back to why you were there and then what happened when you realized, oh gosh, this is serious.
Sure. I'm in town working. I was invited to speak at a conference. So for the last 5 days, I've been attending at the International Convention Center at this conference. And following the end of the conference, I had one day for me and my wife to enjoy a little bit of time on the beach.
Oh no.
And pretty much the instant we got out there, all of a sudden, we just see smoke rising to the left of me, to the right of me, behind me. I could see the flames underneath the smoke, so I knew something major was happening. I started documenting it right then and there. And then, of course, we find out a major drug cartel leader was taken out. We've got cartel wars going on, potential military involvement. And all of a sudden, it was just mayhem. There was burning cars, burning motorcycles, buses. They burnt down a Costco. They burnt down some the OXXO. It's like a convenience store. They went into grocery stores. They lit up a gas station, perhaps for the theatrics of it all, just to get people freaking out over this. And so it's been absolute a nightmare. My flight has been canceled, and I have no word on when I'm going to be able to return just yet. So logistically, it's a nightmare. I mean, from what I understand, too, these cartel members have been using a backhoe to go around and dig up holes on the ground. So even if we are able to use an Uber or a taxi anytime soon, it still might be very difficult to make it to the airport.
Wow.
So I was talking to some people who said they're looking at like not being able to go until Saturday. I mean, today's Monday, and I don't even have any word of when I might be able to get out of here. Me and my wife just spent a couple of hours in the lineup that was like 100 people long, going from the concierge desk all the way out to the sidewalk. And so a lot of people are stranded here, and yeah, it's pretty scary. Things are calming down a little bit now. This is the day after. But from what I understand, logistically outside, it's still a nightmare to get around. We were able to rebook the room. We currently just got it for 2 more nights, but for all I know, we may be here for another week. It's
Wow.
really tough to say. So we're going to have to play that by ear at this point.
Now, you practice journalism out here in BC where I am, so I don't expect you to know all the ins and outs. I believe you're in Puerto Vallarta right now. But what can you tell us that you may have learned about how this cartel violence compares to what Mexico is more accustomed to?
Well, these guys in particular are some of the worst of the worst. These are the most violent guys that the Mexican cartel has. And when you take out a top drug kingpin of the Mexican cartel, it's to be expected. I mean, it should have been no surprise to the military or whoever was involved with this behind the scenes that there was going to be a major reaction to this. And sure enough, there was. I mean, when I went outside of this hotel, I was making a video report to document what was going on, and it was eerily quiet out there. Not a soul was on the street or a car except for burning, smoldering cars, still smoking and hot. And I stood beside one to shoot a quick little video report. And all of a sudden, the only vehicle that was out there started to roll up, and it was a pickup truck with 8 guys on it with machine guns and ski masks. And they slowed right down, right beside me. And I had a moment, Drea. I
Yeah.
was like, is this it? Is this how it's going to go down for me? Like, I don't usually get afraid covering events. I've been surrounded by Antifa and Black Bloc and crazy police officers losing their minds. And I'm never really overly concerned or worried about it. This time I was genuinely afraid for a good 10 or 15 seconds there because I didn't know if this was just the Mexican military or if it was cartel members. And either way, to be honest, if it was cartel members, that's bad. And if it's Mexican military, well, they're the target of the cartel, so that's bad as well.
Yeah, you're too close.
So thankfully, nothing happened, and I managed to get back into my hotel. But so I'm essentially on lockdown right now. They're advising nobody leave. There's no point in leaving anyways. All the stores are still closed around here. They're just starting to open up the roads, and like I said, taxis and Ubers are, as I understand it, about to start resuming again. But logistically, it's incredibly hard to get around still. So, yeah, tough to
Well,
say where this is going to go from here.
Well, definitely brave for you to go out there. I'm sure a small percentage would say crazy as well, but also brave for the taxi drivers and the Uber drivers to get back in the vehicle and here is business back to usual. And I know a lot of people flee to these areas. They flee to Mexico from Canada and other great places. But then when I see this stuff, I remind myself this is why we have to fight for Canada because at the very moment we don't see stuff like this. Do you ever feel like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was just at a conference, and one of the main questions there was like expat panels of people
Mhm.
who have escaped their country, and a lot of them were from Canada, and they're now
Right.
living in Puerto Vallarta. And the question was, how do you feel about fleeing Canada? And my answer was always, I'm going to stay and fight. What we're dealing with here is a new world order agenda. It's happening on a global scale, and you can continue to run from one country to another, but eventually it's going to catch up with you. You're just delaying the inevitable, and if more people like myself continue to run, then it's going to just get worse. So my position is to stay and fight. I honestly have no intention of leaving Canada. As bad as things are getting up there, I still have no intentions of leaving, and I'm going to stay and fight to the best of my ability because, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like what we're seeing here in Mexico with this cartel, I think they may use this as an excuse to clamp down on people's rights, maybe implement a digital ID around here, maybe start putting up, cameras, part of that order out of chaos type of scenario that the globalists have down to a science. It's like that problem reaction solution. You generate that big problem, you get the reaction to it, like, oh my gosh, please do something about this. And then you offer the solution, which is more digital surveillance, more police in the streets, more cameras everywhere. And Canada's not out of the loop here. I mean, what we're seeing here is certainly potential to happen in Canada too. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm not looking to run and hide. I'm going to stick around and fight because it's coming our way as well.
Well, never let a good crisis go to waste, I think is what the globalists love to say, I imagine. Thank you so much for giving us those updates on the ground. I'm glad to hear it's a little bit better today. Hopefully you get home safe. That's Dan with Press for Truth. You can find him on his website, X, Facebook. Thanks again.
Really appreciate it, Drea. Thanks for having me on.
I believe you can help out Dan Dix at his website, pressfortruth.com. And if you also want to help keep us safe, we often at Rebel News are putting our necks out and in the line of the fire of sorts to bring you reports that sometimes bring us at risk. And we can't do any of that without your help by the donations that pay for our security at journalistdefensefund.com. We appreciate your support.